Fun fact about Aaron Watson and myself, we are both sponsored by Rock and Roll Denim. I, of course, have been on the team much longer, but we both rock the Reflex. Reflex denim gives me the flexibility I need to keep it 90 whenever I'm spurring bulls. The biggest problem I have with them is I get an earache because I'm able to stretch my leg up so high that my knee hits my ear when I'm spurring bulls. Also use them when I'm ranching. The vintage 46 is what I lean on the most, or what leans on me, however you want to word it. But check out rockandrolldenim.com. The favored gene of not only Dale Brisby, but Aaron Watson. Two GOATs in their respective industries. But I think if I picked up a guitar, I'd be a GOAT in that industry as well. Regardless, I'll be wearing rock and roll denim. Now, on to the podcast. Thank you so much.
What's the little town? Bunger?
Bunger?
Used to play the Bunger Barn.
Over by going towards Possum Kingdom.
Yeah.
Yeah, Graham's not too far from the old Dale Warehouse. And in the Dale Warehouse today, we've got Mr. Aaron Watson. How many albums have you had?
I think 18.
18 albums.
18.
And your most recent one is Unwanted Man. You came out 2 months ago.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to hear some of the stories of some of those songs. Where all is this album available?
Well, it's available everywhere you can get albums.
Yep.
And I just dropped a bunch of vinyl off at the...
Y'all do some vinyl.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big thing now.
It's really cool. You know, I've got a pretty neat old
Collection.
school
Do
record
you?
player. Yeah. Custom made 1961.
Do you have all 18 of your albums on vinyl?
No, I've just got 4 at the moment.
Gotcha.
And we're slowly...
Has that always been a thing, or is that just the last few years people started putting their stuff on vinyl?
I think the last 5 or 6 years it's gotten really popular, which is really cool. I mean, because I've always loved vinyl, and so it's fun. It's a really fancy... I think it's a really fancy 8x10
right
that you sign. I think some people will actually listen to them, but I think a lot of people just, you can tack them up.
Yes, sir.
On the wall and stuff like that.
You sell them at your merch booths?
Yeah, sell them at the merch booth.
Even cooler.
Yeah.
Get you to sign it right there.
Right
that would
there.
be neat. Yeah,
personalize it.
vinyl.
Oh, yeah.
That would be neat.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Hey, Aaron Watson handed me this one as they put it in their record player.
There it is right there.
One thing we glossed over as you guys are going to hear a lot of stories from him, but your son's playing with you. What does that mean to you? Like, that's got to be special.
Oh, dude, it is. It's...
What does that mean? Oh, he plays?
Yeah, he plays.
You know what? It's kind of annoying, actually.
Actually now, all the girls are just focused on that little turd.
Right.
He's still in my thunder.
How old is he?
He's 16.
Oh, man.
Well, I bought him a, and nothing against his buddies that all got brand new trucks, but I told him, that's not going to be you.
Right.
Okay. And I found him this little 2010 Silverado. It's got the
hand crank.
Yeah, hand crank windows, and but I was like, dude, you got some insurance coming up. Time to get to work. And I'm like, you can either stay here and shred 100 acres, or you can go play the guitar. And he's like, guitar.
Yes.
And you know what? It's a little surreal.
I can imagine.
To look at him. And he's been playing for a long time, and I'll have to send you some videos of him. He's very talented. To be 16 years old, and literally he can just play whatever he wants to play. He's like into Mark Knopfler and all these, he's very talented. And so for me, it's like, for the first, I don't know, 80% of the show, I've got him on the acoustic guitar right now because, he can't make all the shows. And my guys in the band have been great kind of working him in, and he's learned the entire show on acoustic. But that last, 15 minutes of the show, I hand him his Telecaster, and he just wails on that electric guitar. And I really stopped being a performer at that point. I'm just a dad.
Yeah, sure.
Like you'll see some videos of me. Fans will post videos, and I just can't wipe that big dad smile off my face, you know. So that's been a lot of fun, just to get to be with him, and you know.
Does he? Do you see him going out flirting and chasing the girls?
You know, it's interesting. He does, but then he's kind of a little overwhelmed with the volume of the girls.
Right.
Like, you kind of see him like he has this almost like deer in the headlight look and kind of this stupid smile on his face, and he just doesn't really know what to think of it. And his mom made me promise that I would not give his phone number out. And I said, well, what if she's really a sweet girl? And she's like, no. I go, what if it's like,
she's sweet and hot?
yeah, sweet and hot, and her great-great-granddaddy's T. Boone Pickens? And she's like, no. And I'm like, so I tell all of these girls are like, can we have Jake's number? I'm like, his mom said no. I have to honor her, but
Here's his Snapchat.
Here's
But-
his Instagram.
but his Instagram is at @Jake_Watson. You know, but dude, it's so much fun, and it's fun just watching him do what he loves, and I don't know, it's just a great experience for us, you know, and it's and of course, you know, I have to brag on his little brother and his little sister. Like, it just, anytime I can have them on the road with me, it's just a treat for me. So but it's fun. I'm going to sign him to my management team and my record label, and I'll take only 80% of all his
80%.
profits. And, you know,
Yeah. Yep. You're welcome for getting you your start. Yeah.
yeah, you're welcome, son.
Well, we hear a lot of great stories, the origin story of Mr. Aaron Watson. So tune in, and now on to the podcast.
Rodeo time. Gotta get her on down the road.
It's pretty interesting place.
Where's this?
But this bar in Buffalo Gap, you walk in there and you're kind of like, oh gosh, this is
Little hangout
this is
joint.
a little rough situation.
Yeah, that. How far is that from Abilene?
About 20 miles south. I'm turning on airplane mode. Is that professional?
Oh yeah. You probably get a lot of calls. You get a bunch of phone calls every day.
I do. A lot of times it's from my daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Telemarketers.
telemarketers and daughters.
That's the main reason why I like these watches. That way I don't have to pull my phone out of my.
You can just be like,
Yep. Not listening to you or not talking to you.
I had one of those for about a week.
Yeah.
And I was wearing it, you know, and I'm playing shows, and as I'm singing a song, I could feel that thing buzzing on my,
Oh, and it distract you.
distract me, and I was like, okay, I can't
Yep.
handle that.
What? You said you hadn't been playing lately.
Yeah, I took a little mandatory vacation.
What caused that?
You know, they think that I got some kind of inflammation on my vocal cords.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, for 25 years, you know, if my voice hurt, I'd just still sing anyways.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
there's been shows where I remember one time we, you know, for instance, we were actually at Disney World, and I got a call from my manager, and he says, man, I hate to interrupt your vacation. He said, but we have a show. We had an offer for a show on Saturday. And I was like, dude, I'm at Disney World. He goes, it's this dude owns he's an old man. And he said, just shoot him a number and he'll pay it. And I was like, 1 million. And he was like, okay, but a more realistic number. And I was like, hey,
Like Dr. Evil.
yeah,
$1 million.
You know, $1 million isn't actually that much money.
It's not. I think a lot of myself. I thought it was a reasonable, whatever though. But
You can't put a price on these kids.
yeah,
That's what
that's
you just-
right. I mean, but they paid us a lot, and I showed up. I lost my voice, and I just told the boys, I was like, I can't sing tonight, so y'all play real loud,
Yeah.
and I'll probably sing some Johnny Cash or whatever I can sing down,
Right.
So I've always just kind of plowed through it, and it hit me right in the middle of a show. We had a sold out show. It where it started was at Billy Bob's, sold out Billy Bob's. I was like, I can't sing. Well,
Yeah.
what do you do when you got 5,000 people out there? I made some throat coat tea with some lemon honey and a little whiskey, and like I'll just sip on this and plow through it, and I did, and then it hit me again the week later. We were in Denver in the middle of a show. Never had that happen to me. Like my whole voice kind of seized up, and if I try to sing, it felt like a knife going through my ear.
When was this?
That was probably in April, and I went to see the specialist, and he said your whole right side of your left side of your your whole left side of your vocal cord just completely inflamed. And he said we think it's just kind of like almost rubbed a raw spot. And he said that takes a long time to heal. It wasn't. He said it's not career threatening, but it's sitting right there on that nerve. So anytime I try to sing, boy, my ear,
Yeah.
that's but it to put things in perspective, I'm flying up to Birmingham, Alabama to see the specialist, and it's right next to the oncology, part of the hospital. So you're seeing people fighting for their lives. So for me, I'm like,
Right.
I didn't really spend a lot of time worrying about it.
You just took a break.
Just took a break.
Gargle
Yep.
some salt water and see what happens.
That's right. That's right. So, I mean, things are going good now. I think I definitely got a better appreciation for just some of the smaller things after the shutdown and COVID and all this stuff. I mean, it's made me a little, I've always been thankful,
Yes, sir.
but it's made me, a lot more.
Yeah, losing your voice, singing and stuff. It's not like rodeoing, like trying to just tough it out with a sprained ankle or a sprained knee for 8 or 10 seconds.
Right.
It's a whole lot different.
Yeah.
How many shows did you end up having to cancel?
Golly, I bet you 30 or 40 shows.
Good heavens.
Yeah. So, I mean, we had a packed summer.
Yes, sir.
I mean, everything kind of was stacked up from just the previous couple of years. So we were ready to rock and roll. My oldest boy, Jake, he's 16, and he plays the guitar, the drums, the piano, shortstop, wide receiver.
So you're getting to go to
point
all
guard.
that?
Yeah, so I'm getting to do all that stuff and getting to, hang out with him. But he's been practicing to come out on the road with me this summer.
Oh, man.
And then that happened. So, I mean, he's learned the showdown. And he's learned it perfect. So it's been fun getting him on the road since we've been back out. And dude,
So you are back out now?
I'm back out now. Sure
Gotcha.
enough,
So yeah, this
we're making the
weekend
money
was-
again.
Did you do Midland? How's your birthday bash?
Yeah, my birthday bash got completely rained out.
Really?
It rained on my birthday.
Well, I mean,
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord. We need the rain.
for the rain.
Hey, I had to go out and tell everyone. I mean, there's all these people, and I had to say, there's another cell coming through, and it's not looking good. I mean, when you have the national weather forecast literally call the promoter and say, y'all need to calmly get people out of here.
Yeah.
So I went out there, and, man, people were pissed. And I was like, hey, can we all agree that we need the rain?
Right.
Like, God, thank you, Lord, for the rain. And then once I started talking about Jesus and the rain, they kind
Yeah.
of jumped on board. But, man, we need the rain. So I'll cancel shows for rain.
Well, there's situations like that that are just unfortunate for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not like you were passed out or you just didn't show up or you forgot or you were, it's just like, hey,
I
this
didn't
is
know.
unfortunate for me too.
Yeah.
it wasn't one of those you just I don't feel like getting off the bus. I'm
Yeah.
not going to do this. Let's go
I told him, I said, hey, y'all, I was out of work for 3.5 months.
Right. You
I
think I
kind of
don't?
don't want to give you all your money back tonight, you know?
Yeah.
But, but it's fun. And I really have I don't know, at the end of the day, when stuff happens, that's life. You
Yes,
know?
sir.
If you walk away from it and you're like, hey, you have to just put it in perspective.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's what I was. I do a little online Bible study. That's what we were talking about this morning. Was just like a couple times in the Bible, it talks about not being surprised whenever you experience trials.
Yeah.
Like in James, and in we were reading out of 1 Peter, but it's like, don't be surprised when these trials come. And it says, the servant is not greater than the master. They persecuted me, they'll persecute you. But it's Jesus talking about trials and tribulations. And anyhow, I try not to say the phrase, it's been one of those days.
Yeah.
And I also try not to list, like, these are the bad things that have happened today.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and we all do have days where it seems like there's 9 significant things that went wrong, but listing those out does no good for anybody. It just you just start to wallow in pity, and it just doesn't help. But because there's plenty of, you could have done that really easily and nobody would have blamed you.
Yeah.
Ruined my Crystal Gale T-shirt and didn't learn one thing about driving.
Yeah. Well, it's a great point that you make, because, first of all, Jesus didn't show up because life was fabulous.
Exactly.
It wasn't like, they don't have any problems. They're all happy.
Right.
There's no hunger, starvation, agony, and death.
Right.
And that's the thing, is that we act so surprised when bad things happen. And I kind of the truth is like, every day on this earth is one less you got to live. And who knows when it's your time to go. So,
Yes, sir.
it's like, that is our fate here.
Yes, sir.
You gonna die.
Yeah.
And it's like, let's not talk about that. But,
Yeah, it's going to happen.
and the other thing too is, as a songwriter, I embrace those, like, those moments. I don't waste that time. Like, I go, okay, how am I feeling today? Well, things kind of suck. That's okay. Shoot, why don't we write a song about it?
Yes, sir.
That's a beautiful thing about being a songwriter. I consider myself a songwriter. That's the reason why I've always stayed independent and done things my way, is because I just want to sing my songs.
Right.
I'd rather sing my songs and be who I am than sing someone else's songs and, be,
Someone else.
Crystal Gale, like you just mentioned.
I ultimately,
shirt.
the point I came to in the Bible study was, like, the world is full of people saying, like, that you should be happy and that you should chase happiness, and I want to be happy, and that's what's most important, is that all we care about is your happiness. Well, God is much more concerned with our holiness than our happiness.
Yeah.
And that book, the book is about Him.
Yeah.
The book is about Him. It's not about us. And there's instructions in there for us, but it's about, there's 50, 60, 100 verses in there that say for His glory.
Yeah.
And they don't say for your personal gain while you're on earth,
Yeah.
And but essentially what I'm saying is, as opposed to happiness, one thing I try to chase daily is peace, because happiness is an emotion that's circumstantial, whereas peace is something that you can have in the midst of turmoil, trials,
Chaos,
or canceling your
absolutely.
shows, your spouse, your dad, your kid dies, you can find peace. You're not going to be very happy, but you can find peace. And anyhow,
No, that's a great point, and that's good for me to hear, because it's been, there's been a lot of things in my life lately where I could literally, that's a good point for me to hear personally right now, is just go, find peace. Just know that my mom always says when something bad happens, my mom would just say, such is life, baby.
Yeah.
And it's so true. It's
Yes,
just
sir.
life, but
Well, there's times when you can be at peace, but you're not necessarily happy.
absolutely.
And
You're never going to be happy when horrible things happen to you,
yes, sir.
but it's finding that peace.
Yeah.
And it's also finding that comfort, knowing that, you know what, this is not the end.
Right.
We're just here for a little while. There's something greater.
Yeah, that's what, and I talked about it this morning. Not to get too deep before we hear.
Hey,
I
you can
want to
get-
hear your
You can get deep.
more of your story, but like my grandmother, I think about her a lot. She lost all three of her sons, one of them being our dad, obviously, and then lost her husband. And anyhow, it's hard. There's days where it's hard for her to find a lot of happiness.
Yeah.
And there's days for her where it's she's got to strive to find peace.
Yeah.
But that's her main deal. And so, when you go to somebody like that and you try to just throw this happiness word at her, sometimes she might
Well-
raise an eyebrow at it.
Well, and what she's been through, it puts things in perspective. Like,
Yes, sir.
Like Watson stopped being a baby, take some Modol. And but that's a tough thing she's been through.
Yes, sir. Anyhow, so tell me about the Aaron Watson story. Like, how did you get started? You said you consider yourself a songwriter. Did it start with songwriting or did it start with playing a guitar?
For me, growing up, my dad was always playing vinyl records, and it was usually Willie and Waylon, and I always appreciated the words. I can remember being, pretty young kid listening to the words and going, oh man, that's a great story.
Yes.
I remember really gravitating towards like, Poncho and Lefty kind of songs, right? And then as I got older, I started thinking, oh man, they didn't write those? Who wrote that song? Oh, that's Townes Van Zandt. Oh, let me dig into what that guy's doing, and I just found myself really gravitating towards not so much George Strait, which I love George Strait. I have to.
Yeah.
It's a law here.
Yeah, in Texas.
But I started really finding myself looking at who wrote that song. Oh, and I just was really interested in that. And that's kind of what I wanted to do in the beginning was like, I just want to live on my ranch and fish and hunt and kind of fart around all day, write songs, let George go out and sing them and work hard and make the money, send me a little check. That was kind of the dream, but he never answered my emails. info@georgestrait.com does not get back to you very quickly. But I started writing my own songs, and I went to Nashville. I had some offers here and there, but it never really involved me doing what I wanted to do. And I just, I stayed independent, and we just kept cracking away at it. And I think it was in 2013, maybe, we came out with an album called Real Good Time, and we got a phone call, and they were like, you're not going to believe this, but that sucker charted top 10 on Country Billboard nationwide. And I was like, for real? And that album did a lot of good things for us. It was the song July in Cheyenne was on that. And I think that song really opened up the door to kind of the national scene. And, we've been playing the buckle ceremony at NFR for, I don't know,
Long time.
12,
Yeah,
13, 14
seems like.
years. And, we've had opportunities to go play other situations during NFR, but I've always liked the buckle ceremony. It's not really about me. It's about just, it's fun to be around, all the contestants and friends and,
Celebrating everybody else's success
Yeah.
of the day.
I enjoy that. I enjoy that side of it. But once July in Cheyenne came out, we started playing all over the place. And then our next album after that was called The Underdog. And my thought was, if we can accidentally chart an album top 10 nationwide as an independent artist. What if we actually put a little more effort into it? Maybe we could get that number one. And I remember people saying no independent artist has ever had a number one album nationwide on Country Billboard. And that's all I needed to hear. You know, and you gotta be just crazy enough when you hear something like that to go,
Right.
well, maybe I could do that. And we sure enough did. I mean, that Underdog album became the first independent album in the history of country music to chart number one. And from that, a lot of great things happened. And, you know, it's kind of led me to where I am today. And, you know, just writing my songs, working hard, focusing on my fan base. You know, it's kind of neat to see as I walk through, you know, the folks in the front, they asked me if I was here to buy some stuff. And I was like, maybe here in a little bit. And I was like, where's the boss? And they were like, well, he's in a meeting. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, where's the meeting place at? You know, but it's been neat to see, you know, I remember us. I don't know.
Kevin.
Who are you, mister? What are you doing here?
Who was it?
He looked a little stressed out on that big fancy T-shirt
real big?
machine.
Or was he kind of little and had curly hair in the back?
I think he's a little.
Yeah, that was Kevin.
That's Kevin.
Yeah.
Is that a meeting?
He's from Tennessee.
Okay.
So if you would have been,
If
you'd have been Nashville, if you'd have not been independent,
Yeah.
he probably would have recognized you.
if my britches had been a little tighter,
Yes.
maybe he'd have been like, oh,
Yeah.
that. But you know, but the thing is that like it's been neat to see y'all's growth over the year, and
Yes,
just
sir.
you know, I think as I get into this, the more I write, I'm realizing, you know, sharing my heart with the fans, writing songs that matter. That's kind of what works for me.
Yeah.
And that's why, I mean, and honestly, the relationships I've made, I mean, just to be honest with everyone here, what, you know, we've talked about doing this for a long time, but I had an album come out 2 months ago, right after I had surgery. I couldn't even talk.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even promote the album.
Right.
And so I was talking with my team a couple of weeks ago, and we were like, we need to do a re-release.
Yeah, sure.
And I said, okay. And I said, well, here's some people that I could call. And that's when I reached out to you. And you were like, absolutely. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we're kind of letting everyone know I got a new album out. It's called
Yeah, sure.
Unwanted Man. All the proceeds go straight into my wife's purse, you know. But what's funny is the way we got off onto talking about your Bible study, it ties into this song that we released, and it's called The Old Man Said. And so there was this old man by the name of Pete Pugh. Mr. Pete lived across the street from me when I was going to college. And he came over one day and introduced himself. And both my granddads had passed away and left that void. And Mr. Pete walked right in and he filled that void. And next thing you know, he's inviting me over on Friday nights and cooking me, you know, chicken fried steaks. And afterwards we're watching John Wayne movies. And I just fell in love with Mr. Pete and his wife, Miss Dorothy. Mm-hmm. And they took care of my dog, Haggard, when we'd go out and play shows out on the road. And we became closer and closer friends. You know, I got married, bought my first house. I remember I was remodeling that house, and he'd drive over and bring some of his tools, things that I didn't have. And he was real excited when he found out that Kim and I were having our first baby. He was real excited when he found out it was a boy. And not long after that, he had a stroke. And he was funny about it. I went and saw him at the hospital. And I said, what happened? He said, well, first of all, he said, first mistake I made was I quit smoking after 75 years. I started smoking when I was 13. He said, I quit smoking. He said, I think my body freaked out. And I said, well, what happened? He said, well, you know our little bathroom there next to the kitchen? And I said, yeah. He said, well, I was, standing there doing my business, and next thing you know, something happened and found myself stuck between the wall and the toilet. He said, and I stayed there for a while. He said, brother, that ain't the way you want to go. And I remember us talking about it, and just, he had the best attitude about things. And I got a call. It's hard for me to talk about, but I got a call from Mr. Pete. It was a Sunday after church. And he talked real loud because of his hearing. Like, Aaron, And I was like, yes, sir. He said, I want you to come over to the house. There's some things I need to talk to you about. And I said, yes, sir, I'll be there. And I drove over there, and where his recliner used to be, there was the bed, hospice had come in, and we reclined it up. I kind of swung him around, helped him sit up. I sat next to him, and he said, how about you and me have one more cup of Joe? And I remember feeling that like lump in my throat to hear him say one more. I knew I was there. And he sat me down, and there was just a lot of things he needed to share with me. I mean, he knew he didn't have long, and he told me all the things that he knew about being a dad and a husband, and we talked about everything, Jesus, faith, family. And I remember the whole time just going, don't cry, don't, just hold it in. And he said, well, I'm getting tired, I'm going to take a little nap. And I said, all right, Mr. Pete. And I hugged him, and I said, well, I'll check on you a little later. And I remember walking out of that front door, shutting it. I just lost it. I don't even know I could see all the way home. And I went home, and I wrote down these words. I put, the old man said, and I'd put ... And I'd write something that he told me, and then I'd write the next line, the old man said ... And I'd write down something else that he said. And Mr. Pete, he passed away a few days later, and then a few hours after that, my son Jake was born. And man, it was a beautiful thing. Just bittersweet, the whole thing for me, losing him, but then the son. And so I'm proud that that song finally came to life. And it's like, the old man said, son, I don't have long to live. He slowly raised his cup and he took a sip. The old man said, son, I fought a dang good fight. So I pulled up a chair and sat there half the night. And the old man said, don't take a single day for granted. Live like there's no tomorrow. Tend to the seeds you've planted. Be a good friend and a brother. Love your children and your mother. And die by those living words in red, the old man said. And that's just cowboy poetry. Mm-hmm. And it's fun to put it into a song. And his daughter, she texted me the other morning when she heard it, and she's like, I'm crying. But, it's like we were talking about. Life is hard. But you take those moments and you do the best you can. It's like my song, July and Cheyenne, Clyde and Elsie, the way they've used their grief to glorify God. And I know I'm pulling out all the sad stories on y'all right now, but that song came from a tough place in my life. We lost our little girl, Julia, shortly after she was born. And I just struggled with it. It was hard, and I wasn't mad at God. I just was upset about it.
Right.
And was struggling with it. And, just coming across Miss Elsie's testimony where she talks about, Lane was a world champion bull rider, but that wasn't his greatest achievement. His greatest achievement came a year before he died when he asked Jesus to be his Lord and Savior. And I was like, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
And I wrote that song as July and Cheyenne. I wrote that song for them. I never planned on singing it to anybody. And then I got asked to play I haven't thought about this in years. I got asked to play the Cowboy Church at the San Antonio Rodeo, and Trevor Brazil was giving the little sermon, and I was in charge of the music. And right there, I decided to just sing that song. And I remember thinking, well, what if I mess it up? And then I thought, heck, no one will know. No one's ever heard it before. And I sang it, and the old boy that owned the bull that Lane was riding, when he died, just happened to be there. He was bawling.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things that I was like, you know what? It's just use your own personal experiences, your hardships, your heartaches. Use that to inspire people, to give them hope. I mean, just honestly, just what you said earlier today about, you know, I literally was thinking about some things driving down here being like, I'm just not happy with that.
Yep.
I needed to hear you say, oh, it's not about happiness, it's about peace.
Yes, sir.
Just come to peace, you know, just find peace within the situation as good as possible. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Preacher Brisby, that's a fine sermon that you gave this morning.
I don't know. That's why I do my Bible study. I make an unlisted YouTube video.
Yeah.
And you got to like text me the word Bible to receive it. You can't like search it online. That was how it came about. But essentially I just felt like, man, I'm not a preacher. I've not been to seminary. You know, I'm just a guy trying to learn the Bible and walk in line with God's word. But
I don't think those apostles have been to, I don't think they'd been to seminary school either.
That's true. But whenever I do a Q&A, like on Instagram, you know, when we're driving down the road, I'll do a Q&A and I'll get 100 questions, and 10 of them, sometimes 11, 12 of them will be, what's your favorite Bible verse? What are you studying? What should I study, etc. And so the unlisted deal is for those 10 or 12 out of 100 that are following my shenanigans. And so anyhow, but it's helped also just keep me accountable for, you know, continuing my pursuit. But
yeah,
essentially, like, I think we've just got to be completely dependent on, I was listening to a Matt Chandler sermon, and he was talking about, like, you're not the hero of your story.
Yeah.
You know, and so many times, like, if you listen to the world who tries to remove Jesus out of everything, they're going to, you know, you're going to hear a lot of messages about how you need to be the hero of your story and you deserve this or that. Well, like, for instance, the story of David and Goliath, you know, like, we're not David in that story. And everybody likes to act like we're David, but Jesus is David. And we're the Israelites crying because we're so scared. Yeah. You know, and we've got to depend and live through and be completely dependent on Jesus to reach that peace we're talking about. Absolutely. Anyhow, we got to completely surrender. And so I think whenever we do that, that's whenever that peace will happen. But, so tell me a little bit more about the album. Man, what's your favorite song on it?
You know, I think probably The Old Man Said. Just, I'm biased because it's about Mr. Pete, you know. But the song Unwanted Man, that thing turned out pretty cool.
Yeah, it did.
And from the solo to just I don't know, it felt pretty old school, but at the same time, it was like, it just had a little magic to it. It's fun to play live, you know.
Yeah.
Like an old worn out corduroy coat down at the Lost and Found. I mean, you could start a song off with that lyric. I was like, okay, I like that. I like that one. And you know, that song, where the idea from that song came from, is that after that Underdog album went #1, we came out with an album called Vaquero, and it did great for us. I mean, it outsold the Underdog album. There's been 3 songs chart top 10 in 50 years independently by an independent artist in country music, and our song Out of Style was one of them, which is probably one of my least favorite songs I've ever written. Like, I think I wrote it in like no time. I needed an upbeat song to finish the album. I remember thinking, well, that's a bunch of bull.
You never know.
Yeah, that's
You
how it
never
goes.
know.
You never know.
But that sucker goes top 10. We had Run Wild Horses, which is another one that's I like old sounding songs, you know.
Right.
Now I don't want to be that guy. I have a real problem maybe with any types of authority. You know, you've got the mainstream telling me I need to sound like this, but then you've also got this other thing where these people that are very anti-mainstream and they're playing stuff that sounds old school, and you know, they got the beards and the tats and they're outlaws. Well, I'm kind of like, well, you're not really going to dictate what I'm doing either. Like I'm not here to please either side. Like I'm here to write my songs, and if you don't like it and you don't like it, well, I'll find those people in the middle, you know. But after we had that success at radio, we put out another single. It was doing good. And then I started getting phone calls from program directors that I'm friends with around the nation saying, dude, I don't know how else to tell you this, but we're getting calls from corporate and they're telling us that we can't play you anymore because you're not signed to a label. He said, it's politics. And I get it. You know, it's like if Carrie Underwood's coming to town and she's bringing these two openers, well, those labels are going to call that radio station and say, if you want to be the station that we put all our money into to promote this Carrie Underwood show, you better be playing artists B and C as well. And it's just there's not enough room for everybody.
Yes,
and
sir.
so I kind of understand the system, and I appreciate their calls because I was like, so there's literally nothing I can do to punch through here. And they're like, they're like, you kind of slipped in the back door with these other two singles and did what we consider the impossible, but you need to take your money and run. And I was pretty bummed about that, you know, because it only took me 17 years to get my first top 10, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here going, well, either sign a record deal or just keep doing what I've been doing.
Yeah.
And I was kind of bummed about it. And then we had a show, I think we were somewhere in North Dakota, and it was a packed house. And I was like, it's all right. These people don't care whether I got pulled from mainstream radio or not. They don't care. And I don't feel like an unwanted man. And so really that song's kind of a little love song to the fans, you know?
Right.
So, but I enjoyed writing. I mean, I wrote that whole album during the pandemic, sang all the vocals in my wife's closet, literally purses and women's footwear and dresses and things all around me. And then when we were supposed to shoot the cover, the lady that does photography for me, which getting my photo taken is my absolute least favorite thing to do in the whole wide world. Every photographer that has ever taken a picture of me, they're like, I need you to give me a real smile. And I'm like, well, I need you to say something funny that makes me smile, a real smile, you know? But the photographer came down with COVID, and then we rescheduled, and then my band and me and everybody else, we were all infected, canceled some shows. Most of my family was out of town. Just me and my son Jake were at home, and he didn't have anything to do that summer or those 2 weeks. So we binged watched all kinds of movies and hung out and had fun, right? But I couldn't do the photo shoot that week, and we had to have artwork submitted. You know all about deadlines and having things submitted. We had to have the artwork submitted like in 3 days. It was like 2:00 in the morning, and we just got through watching a movie, and I was like, dude, come on. And we threw a black sheet over the refrigerator in the garage, and I set up one of those. I've got a pretty fancy setup. You know those lights that you put your phone in the middle of?
Yeah.
Got one of those retractable legs.
Yeah.
About
like $68 on Amazon.
Yeah, maybe not. I didn't even spend that much. I went with the other brand, the cheaper one. One of the legs is broke now, but duct tape. It's good. I just told him, I was like, dude, I'm going to sit in that little chair and you just start pushing that picture button on my iPhone. And I literally think I used the first picture because I was fixing my collar and he took a picture and it was kind of blurry. It looked like an old school photo, and all the other ones I looked like an idiot. So I said, we're going to use that when we sent it. It's just been the whole process has been a train wreck, but it's been fun.
Yeah, sir.
You know, I mean, at the end of the day, we got an album. We're putting it out. So it's been fun.
Yeah. You got to be innovative.
Yeah.
You got to keep reinventing yourself.
Yeah.
You got to, and that's what, you know, we made our first video 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And we've got to, I mean, there's always people that say, like, you know, when you get to a certain point, they're going to say, oh, I always knew he would. And then at some point they're going to say, I miss the old stuff. And then, you know, so there's always going to be people that say things no matter what.
Yeah.
But essentially, like, if you're there's what I've tried to do is, you know, if I get 100 comments, you know, 2 or 3 of them going to be negative, 4, maybe 5, 6, but that means 93 or 4 of them are probably good.
Yeah.
And so I just try to, like, pay attention to those. But essentially, I've got to continue to just, for them to be interested, I got to be interesting.
Yeah. Well, I will say this too. What I like about, I mean, y'all make great content. Y'all got some characters, right? But I also like the way you address some of those negative comments.
Yeah.
Because you do it well.
Yes, sir.
Like, and if you can do, that's the best thing is if when people are nasty with you, if you can come back at them and defend yourself, but also make people laugh.
Yes, sir.
That's brilliance. And that's, you do that well. It's good stuff. Those are some of my best things is when I watch you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Dale's DMs.
Yeah, Dale's DMs are just great.
Yeah. No, I don't know. And then I like to take a page out of Eminem's book in the movie 8 Mile at the very end whenever they're bashing each other and then he bashes himself and
Yeah.
ultimately the guy's lost. He doesn't know what to say, you know. He's like, you're right, I am white trash straight out of a trailer house, you know. And anyway, the guy just puts the mic down because he doesn't know. I mean, like,
it's like, where do you go from there?
Exactly. And so
my banjo player, Sterling, you can't defeat him.
Yeah.
Because anything you say, he agrees with it. And then he'll put a funnier spin on it.
Yep.
And then you're just like, okay, you win.
Yeah.
And it's hard to argue.
We got a guy in the office kind of like that. But you were talking about people you meet along the way the other day. Haven't you played a lot in Nazareth?
Oh, yeah, I have.
Suds and Sound?
I haven't played that in years, but boy,
I think that might have been the first live show I saw you at, like a little while back.
Yeah.
But, Garrett Kleeman.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was one of my college roommates.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good family.
Really
I
good
know
family.
exactly where their house is.
Yep.
I know the exit.
Yes, sir.
Used to be the truck stop there with a
The chicken place.
It was a Grandy's back in the day.
We'd stop and get gizzards.
Yeah. And then you drive on down that road to Nazareth. They got that nice brick house on the right. They're a good family. I haven't seen them in forever.
Yes, sir. Right, you turn on I-27 in Tulia.
That's right.
Yep.
Man, I haven't heard that name in a while. You have to tell them I said hi.
Yeah, I emceed it this year.
Did you really?
They who did they have there? Reckless Kelly.
Reckless.
Yeah. But they talked about having you back. They talked about, yeah.
I need to get back there. That's, I grew up not far from there.
Yes,
so, outside Amarillo, between Amarillo and Canyon. And that's just, boy, those girls can play some basketball in Nazareth.
Dadgum. All of them can do anything.
It's,
yeah, they whooped our tails in football.
Oh, man, that's a neat little community. Yeah, you don't want to mess with them Nazareth folks.
Just a bunch of redneck farm kids that show up every time
and can just play the lights out of whatever, right?
Exactly.
It's like I can always remember, like, the Friday night wrap up, news growing up, and it goes through and gives the scores, and it's like Nazareth
Yep.
120.
Yeah.
The other team, 12.
Right. Yeah. It's something like that.
Yeah, it's always like, oh man, it's
Yeah.
Every other week they had the play of the week.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly that. They're good people.
Don't you have a song about Esteline?
Yeah, yeah.
So we grew up in Memphis.
Okay.
Yeah. So we always knew to slow down in Esteline.
Got my-
There's a few songs in about Esteline.
I got my first ticket in Esteline.
Yep.
I think we were driving to I don't know, where was I going? Where would I be
287.
going? Where
You
would I
could have
be
been going to Colorado?
If I was going
Amarillo,
from if I was leaving Amarillo going,
Fort Worth.
could it have been Wichita Falls?
Yep. Yeah, you go through Wichita Falls on 287.
I think I was going to Wichita Falls for a football game, and I had a 1978 Z28.
There you go.
And I'm pretty sure I was listening to some Led Zeppelin. I just
Yeah.
got my first ticket in Esteline, which at the time was like just well known for giving the most tickets
Yep.
per capita ever,
yeah.
But I literally maybe yesterday, someone made a comment from Esteline and they tagged me on there's a new cafe that just opened up in Esteline. And they were like, they tagged me and they were like, hashtag there's no Dairy Queen in Esteline. And I was like, well, that cafe's name doesn't rhyme with Esteline. And only you and about 200 people know that there's no Dairy Queen in Esteline. And honestly, there should be.
Yeah.
There should be a little Dairy.
Yeah, we'll start a petition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. So y'all,
You got a song about Esteline.
It's called Esteline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's something to think about.
I can't remember. I looked it up. I can't remember what it means. It's a women's name. It's a native women's name.
Well, it took till after I graduated to figure out why they named Memphis, but there's Memphis, Egypt, which is on the Nile.
Yeah.
There's Memphis, Tennessee, which is on the Mississippi. And then Memphis, Texas is on the Red River.
Yeah.
So,
That's cool. I didn't ever realize that.
yeah, I wished I would have known too.
Coup de Grace had a great song. Memphis. Golly. Did y'all love that growing up?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was on their very first album, I think. Isn't that the one that the CD was Star Blue?
I don't remember. I just remember hearing it all the time. Everybody always played it.
It was a waltz, I think.
And then there was a rap song, "Welcome to Memphis," but they weren't talking about Memphis, Texas.
You don't know that.
Hey, but to y'all they were.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Coup de Grace one talking about Ziegler Park and all that.
Yeah, we'd played in the locker room right before Nazareth wiped the floor with us.
Yeah, that was till you graduated and then I took over. So.
Oh yeah, that's
Things
right.
changed, right?
Things
Oh no,
changed.
they still wipe the floor with us, just not as bad.
Right.
But
So what's your next big show coming up that you're excited about?
Oh gosh. I don't even know. I've got a bunch of them. I know that I fly out tomorrow and I'm going for about the next 3 weeks. We're just all over the place.
Yes, sir.
I know we're playing my first show in Nashville in forever at the Brooklyn Bowl on Friday. I don't know where I'm playing.
Yeah.
I kind of just get on the bus and wherever we pull up, I'm like,
Yep.
all right,
This is where we're at.
I'll play anywhere. I had fun during the shutdown. My number one goal was this. At the end of this year, I want all the boys in the band to look at their bank accounts and go, we didn't take a hit.
Right.
We did not take a hit. And we were able to manage through those 4 months where everything was just shut down. But one day I was like, I'm done. And I remember I got on like Facebook, Instagram, and was just like, hey, y'all, Aaron Watson here. And this hasn't happened since 2001. But birthday parties, bar mitzvahs, barbecues, weddings, anything and everything. You need some entertainment? Message me.
Yeah.
Dude, We played some awesome, fun things. And, you know, sometimes it sucked, but the whole thing is like, does it really suck?
Yeah.
Are you, you know, oh, everyone's not singing along with you and they don't act like they care about your music. You know, you hear about these artists that if someone's talking while they're singing, they throw a fit.
Yeah.
I'm like, how about this? Why don't you just suck it up, Buttercup, and sing your songs for 75 minutes and get paid?
Right.
I'm sorry. You know, it's like, is it really that bad? I mean, I had a guy, we played in Marble Falls. This guy was wearing me out the whole show. And at first I was going, golly, but then I was like, stop crying, Watson.
What was he doing?
He was just such a super fan
Oh, yeah.
that he wouldn't stop holding his phone to me. And then he would like throw stuff at me to sign and just wearing me out. He'd had too much fun.
Yeah.
But, you know, and then when I'd be talking, he'd be yelling stuff at me, you know?
Right.
And he was one of those guys that right when you would open your mouth to say something, he'd scream something so it'd completely derail your...
So he was more than a super fan. Super fan sounds good. This is like past the beyond.
Super
beyond
Psycho?
good. There you
Super
go.
Psycho fan?
Super Psycho fan.
Super Psycho
That's what you're
fan.
talking about.
I'm a part of the show now.
Oh, he totally was a part of the show. But that's the whole deal now. I mean, with my band, the guys are so great. Like if, you know, I always would be like, how's it looking out there? And most of the time they're like, oh man, it's packed. Great show. It's going to be a great show. But every once in a while I'll be like, how's it look out there? And they'll go, and I'll be like, you know what? Let's just go out there and have fun. We have fun when they show up and we plug everything up in my barn and rehearse. Let's just have fun. I mean,
Yes, sir.
so you just gotta, I mean, I'm strumming a guitar for a living.
Yep.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
Yeah,
you know,
there's-
somebody's gonna be listening to this podcast out there stirring up the Can I-
Twitter space.
yeah. Or someone's gonna be out there on the side of the highway with a hot mop and the tar, hearing me talk about, you know, it's just
Yeah, life on the road is hard.
life on the road is hard. Like this guy was,
This guy was yelling at me.
he yelled things at me.
Tried to make me look at his phone screen.
Yeah, I've got certain jobs in my head that when I am having a day that's tough, because, you know, there are days, no matter what you're doing, that are hard. Like,
Yeah.
you know, problems are problems on certain days.
Yeah.
You know, so there's old jobs that I go back to in my mind to remind
Yeah.
myself how much better I have it now. That just kind of remind me, like, hey, it could be a lot worse.
The oil field in Dumas, Texas.
That'd be
That's a
one of
real
them.
good one for me.
That'd be one of them.
Crow Hollow in Headley, Texas.
Yeah,
Oh.
feedlot.
Yeah, there's a lot of things.
Stericycle. That one will take the cake. Hospital work.
Yeah, he would go empty out the bins
All
of the used
hazardous
needles.
and, like used needles, and
Oh.
then, like, after surgeries, have to go get the whatever they took out.
Walk in a room with someone dying in it.
Oh, or already died. Family's in there, and you have no idea. Nobody tells you. You walk in like, hey,
The
Okay.
asbestos.
I'm so sorry.
You go like,
died yesterday.
Seriously.
oh, sorry. Oh. Well, for me, you know, so my dad's a disabled veteran. He's 100% disabled from Vietnam. And, you know, he had a cleaning company, right? And our church really blessed our family by letting Dad be in charge of cleaning this big church, right? And so my life, I was always going up there with Dad, helping him clean the church. And I hated toilet day. We'd clean all those toilets, and I'll never forget. We walked into the woman's bathroom, and I don't know what happened in there, but it was bad.
It wasn't Christian.
It wasn't Christian. So it was demonic.
This church has got to stop doing potluck.
Yeah, the wall. I'm not going to get graphic, but the wall. And that was my bathroom. That was my dad gave me the little bathroom, the little 2-stall bathroom, and then he had the one in the outside the fellowship hall that was like 8.
So he thought he was doing you a favor.
Yeah. And this had already been going on for years now, where that's my bathroom, you know?
Oh, gotcha.
I had the little dude. He had the big one. I walked in there. And whatever had happened, I think, Sunday night, evening services.
It was crusty.
Yeah. And I remember my dad, I remember saying, Dad, I can't do this, Dad. My dad was like, this is your bathroom. This is your problem. And I remember going, well, Dad, how am I supposed to get that off the wall? He's like, well, you're going to have to scrub, I guess. And I remember taking one of those, whatever dirty cloth we had, probably with all kinds of like window cleaning chemicals on it. And I remember kind of wrapping it around like a bandana and just, so that's one I always go back to, that bathroom.
There you go. That'd be a good one.
9 years old, that bathroom.
Yep.
When things are bad, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
It ain't that bad.
Yeah, it's not bathroom wall of the Presbyterian church bad.
It ain't that bad. Nothing's that bad.
Yeah. Nothing can be as bad as
Potlucks have never been the same for me.
them little old ladies go in there.
Yeah.
No, it was you, Dorothy.
I mean, I literally, it's funny you say that, but for years.
We checked the cameras.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because for years after that, I'd be walking down the hallway, and if I saw some sweet little grandma go in there, I'd be like, oh, yeah.
I wonder if you were the one.
Oh, yeah. Were you the one?
Were you the one?
Was it you?
Was it you?
Like, how can you walk out of that bathroom knowing what you did?
Knowing what you did. Oh, jeez.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Mine's a feedlot.
Feedlot?
Yeah.
Where at? What feedlot?
Crow Hollow,
Crow Hollow.
Headley.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then in college, I worked at it wasn't a feedlot, but we processed a lot of yearlings just all day next to this chute, all day, just hundreds and thousands. And it just got old. Boss was a jerk. Not in Headley, the boss wasn't a jerk. He was just a drunk. The one in college, he was a jerk.
He was rough.
Yeah, and he would always go out to, they would always go out to the NFR. And anyhow, he was a big motivator for me rodeoing too. Just because
You're
I
like,
didn't want to go back.
sir, I'd like to thank you
Yep.
for being such a jerk that you motivated
Guys,
me.
There's no call for, anyway. I hadn't
But
thought
you
about
know
him
what's
in a while.
funny? But that ties into life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the whole thing. Like, people can say, believe in yourself. Come on, you got this. You got this. But there's no greater motivator than that kind of situation right there. That's what makes you fight to get out of the ghetto.
Right. Yeah.
Crow
Yeah.
Hollow we were kids, though. We had no business being there in the first place.
Yeah, we were on that part was tough because it was the graveyard shift. We'd
Mm-hmm.
process cattle in the middle of the night. And, yeah, I mean, just a kid trying to stay awake at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning,
That's
giving
rough.
shots and everything. That was just, so I think if that had been in the middle of the day, it probably wouldn't have put such a bad taste in my mouth about feedlots.
Yeah.
But anyhow, cow calf, that's absolutely the most fun part of ranching is working with horses and cow calf. Anything else is just second to that.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so what moved you to Abilene?
Well, I went to school there
Mm-hmm.
at Abilene Christian, and I just liked the area. I like the people. It's a lot like where I grew up, but I just felt like it was a little more centrally located in the beginning when we were touring all over Texas. The thought of moving back home to Amarillo, and every cotton picking time we got done with a run,
Having to go all the way
back to Amarillo, adding that extra 4.5 hours, that's a big deal.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I just felt like, we're playing Fort Worth tonight. 2.5 hours, we're back home, I mean, even going to Amarillo, 4.5 hours up there, Next night hit Lubbock. Next night we're 2.5 hours back to Abilene. I just felt like it was centrally located. And I didn't want to go to Austin because, you know, me and Austin, that's like mixing oil and water.
100%.
So, and the price of living up there is so high. And I found out early, like, oh man, I can get a lot more bang for my buck. You can buy more land. You can have a nicer house, you know? And so it was just just a better environment for me. And, you know, we live actually in between Buffalo Gap and Tuscola, and it's a good little school district. My boys all, you know, play every sport there is. And my daughter, she just made the volleyball team and she's running cross country, but she hasn't had one cross country practice yet. So
We'll see.
we'll see.
We'll see.
I mean, girlfriend. Yeah. So it's a good place to, you know, good people, you know,
Yeah.
kind of like rolling into here. I just
sure.
love small towns.
Yeah. No, and it's got, you know, you got pluses and minuses, you know, but Abilene's cool because you got the small town feel, but it's also obviously a big enough town where you
Got
got
some
a
stuff.
Walmart Supercenter, and
Yeah, we
you
got the super center,
yeah,
you know.
a few restaurants. So
Yeah, I think, you know, what's one of the fancy grocery stores?
you got Joe Allen's.
Yeah, we got Joe Allen's. You know, the thing is, we lived right down the street from Perini Ranch Steakhouse. And, you know, I'm good friends with the Perini family. But, you know, most kids, you know, they want like what? McDonald's, and they want some of the chicken nuggets off the dollar menu. Well, when you live next to Perini Ranch, my kids are like, Daddy, can we go to Perini Ranch and get some quail legs? I'm like, boy, that's a $18 appetizer.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, we'll go get processed chicken meat for $1.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's been fun being out there. And, you know, it's like you said, I mean, it's, you know, I drive 20, 30 minutes to get to the little airport and fly out there. And good people, though, good little church. And
You planning any rodeos coming up?
man, I've got several on the books. That's where I should probably have my phone out so I could tell you where I'm playing. But I love rodeos are my favorite.
Yeah, sure.
So all your rodeo folks, just call me up.
Yeah.
Me and rodeos, the environment, the culture, the people. There's nothing better than playing rodeos. People always ask me, what's your favorite venue to play? And I'll say, any rodeo.
Yeah, sure.
Honestly, the small town rodeos are my favorite. I mean, I've played the Houston rodeo. That was frightening.
Yeah, imagine.
You know, I mean, I've played Shine, Frontier Days, open for Kiss.
Dang.
That's cool.
That was one of the coolest nights of my life. I remember they called me up and they said, booking agent called me up and they said, you're not going to believe this, but Kiss's management requested that you open up for them. They said Gene Simmons will handpick who opens for him in different areas.
Wow.
And I was like, absolutely.
What year was this?
2017 or 18.
Okay.
I'll
July and Cheyenne had come out.
Yeah, July and Cheyenne to come out. And I don't know if that, you know, I on the cover of The Underdog, I painted my face up like Smets, like
Right.
Rob
You
Smets. And I remember Rob had that commercial out. Was it
Yeah, the Jaeger.
Jaeger
Yep.
commercial where like the Hall of
Yeah, men.
Men.
It's like, rules of being a man. kind of
Yeah.
deal.
And I remember I was trying to think about what cover I wanted to do for The Underdog, right? And I didn't want to do something cliche like me sitting on a tailgate and a dog under me, you know? That was one of my ideas, and I was like, too cliche. And then when Rob came out, I was like, that'd be cool. So I texted him because he lived outside of Abilene at the time. And I said, could I use your design, your face paint design? And he was like,
sure he was down,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't know if Gene Simmons saw the face paint and was like, this kid's going to fit in good with us. So, but I got to hang out with Kiss, right? And Gene, he put his arm around me, and he's huge.
Really?
I think he's already like, maybe 6'3" but then he wears these platform boots that are like, so he's a monster of a man. He's got on all that crazy, the like shoulder pads, and big man. And he put his arm around me, and his hand kind of softly brushed the inside of my neck and onto my face. And I remember his hand being here, and I was thinking, what's he doing to me? What's happening in front of all these people? I didn't know if he was going to fish hook me, but he said, you are a powerful young man. And I said, thank you.
Thank you, Gene Simmons.
Thank you, Gene Simmons. That's what he said to me, and that's all he said to me. He called me a powerful young man.
Thank you, Gene Simmons.
Yeah. I need to be like, put that on a shirt.
Yeah.
Aaron, you are a powerful young man, Gene Simmons.
Gene Simmons.
Gene. Daddy Gene.
Big Daddy Gene.
Big Daddy Gene. But dude, that was so much fun that night. And I'll play for anybody.
Yeah.
I have zero pride. I will open for anybody. I'll close for anybody. I mean, and it's just fun. It's just making music. Musically, I think I'm in the best place that I've ever been. Like, I truly understand just how much of a blessing it is and how fun it is to like work this week.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and there's other things. There's parts of the business that I don't care for. I mean, but I don't know. I say that, but then again, I'm like, this is part of my job right here. I'm having a blast hanging out with you guys.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
It's really.
I was thinking that exact same thing this morning, like as far as my day.
Yeah.
Like as a Monday. And of course, it's been, such a blessing today with the rain. But then I'm like, man, that's cool. I get to have a podcast today with Aaron Watson.
Oh, man, dude, that's fun. It's like after every show, sometimes I'm tired.
You watch a Dale Brisby video.
I watch a Dale Brisby video. I get motivated. Well, that's usually in my bunk afterwards.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
That's,
Before that,
after the show, I tell all the fans, bet you didn't know this, but that ticket you bought tonight came with a free hug. And I go down there at the merch, and we sling that merch. I sign stuff. I hear stories. I give hugs. And sometimes that's exhausting. Like when I'm on the bus after the show, I'm going, God,
100%.
Yeah, you know that feeling.
Well, I know, like, because I've
watched
that's
you
usually
hustle.
my only gig.
Yeah,
I don't have to play a 2-hour show before that.
Yeah, but I've also walked into that Cowboy Christmas Convention Center, dude. I've walked by you, and it's like 10 a.m. and I go in and do several other shows. I walk out hours later, and you're still there. Yeah. This last year, I cut through some kids and shook your hand, and got out of there. But it means the world to people. It means the world to the kids. I mean,
yeah. What sometimes I get super nervous that like we'll be in Vegas, or I'm sure you've experienced too. Like you do your best you can to interact with everybody, but like you got to be over there 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Their whole, and you got to go, and somebody might yell your name or something. And anyhow, I hate those moments where you might have left a wake of someone thinking, like,
yeah,
man, he's kind of an
yeah.
or something. But like really, like no, like there's a situation you don't understand,
yeah,
or whatever, or if they do catch you at the end of a long day, and because watching my videos, everybody expects me to just be full of energy.
Yeah.
Well, there's not been a year in Vegas that I haven't been sick at some point, and so they come up and they don't get the full experience, and I feel bad, and they feel mad, and
yeah.
So there's times like that where it's just unfortunate that, I try to do my best, but I do love it. I'll sit there for all day.
Oh,
very
dude,
few, very, 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 very few times I've ever walked away from a line of people.
Yeah.
Like maybe one or two.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm like, well, you know what it is? I think back to like being a little kid. Like if I was waiting in
Yes,
line
sir.
to get a baseball autograph, and if he got almost to me
Right.
and then walked off, that destroys a little kid.
Oh yeah.
So I always try to go, I
You
just
know who
can't."
else is good about it is JB.
Yeah.
Have you ever met him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What-
He'll
gosh,
sit there
I
for
gotta
2
get his-
hours at the end of a rodeo.
I need to get it. I think I promised his little guy, what's his little boy's name?
Jagger?
Jagger. I'm supposed to get Jagger a microphone. Dang
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I'll get you the microphone.
There you go.
And you give it to Jagger. Yeah, he's a legend. He takes care of his folks. But you know what? The whole rodeo world
Yes, sir.
just really, I always tell people, it's like I love baseball. I grew up playing baseball. My boys love baseball, but there's no professional athletes that do it better
Yes, sir.
than the men and women
You
on
bet.
the rodeo scene. No one treats their fans better. It's fun to watch. I mean, I'm the same way though. Man, Vegas kicks me around. The buckle ceremonies aren't till like 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, folks, by the time I hit stage, it's 2 a.m. back home in Texas. So I literally,
Yep.
my-
Got any questions for our man?
I've been taking it in.
Yeah.
Just listening.
me and you need to write
Yeah.
a tune. Let's do that.
I'm down. Say when.
All right.
Leroy loves it. He loves writing music. He's got a lot of stuff he's been working on.
Yeah, I took about a month off. I haven't touched a guitar, piece of paper. Haven't even listened.
Yeah.
Just haven't listened to anything for about a month and a half.
Just getting your mind clear.
Just trying to do me. Just figuring me out right now.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. It feels like every time I do that, when I come back, it's just I have a whole new respect for it, I guess.
Yeah.
And then, like, feels better.
Yeah, I do.
Makes
I kind of
sense.
do the same thing. Like after I have been writing a lot and then I record the songs, I'm almost kind of brain dead for a while. Like I can't even think anything, right? And then I just kind of take time off. And then one morning I'll wake up and I'll start having some ideas again, And I think that's you got to give your
Got
brain
to.
that
Got
weekend
to.
some time off. Dude, in about 4 months, it'll be finished. I've built this pretty swanky little, it's not big, ranch house, but I want it to be. There's just one little area on the ranch that we just can't do anything with. It's like 10 acres, and it backs up to this little canyon. Looks like back home. And then there's, well, we call it a mountain, but it's a mesa, bluff, whatever you want to call it, right there. And we tuck this house right up in there, and the whole back of the house is glass. And I'm using that for like to bring in songwriters and do stuff like that. So
You bet.
you boys have to make the
For sure.
drive up there. I'll
Yeah,
cook you some
heck yeah.
steaks and we'll write some songs. And there's this cool deal that there's this big retaining wall we put in, and the retaining wall then turns into we put those big rocks. It spins off the retaining wall, and there's a big area for a fire pit. And it's perfect. So we designed it so that like get out there, get a fire going,
Yes, sir.
play some music. So
yeah.
that's my favorite thing to do. That is my favorite thing. I love waking up early in the morning and writing songs. And, songs are interesting when you think about it. This is deep. But like, what else can you make that requires everything else you make requires material, something. Like this table required this fine sheet of plywood. Yeah.
Just
Yep.
be my cutting table.
The hats require cloth. By the way, I want everybody to know this is not a competitor. It's just my buddy's little hat here. Go to dalebrisby.com to purchase your finest.
Oh, they already
apparel.
know. Yeah, they already know.
That'll be you. What we don't know, what I don't know right now, is I'm staring at myself. What I don't know is that that girl right there. Who is that?
Jordan.
So Jordan, I'm sorry, Jordan. You can smack me for saying that. Of course, Jordan right now, she's on a computer, and what I don't know is she has somehow taken this off, and there's the big Dale Brisby logo
Edited
right
over.
there. She's edited it,
Go-
and even my vest has a DB on it,
Yeah, there you go.
and there's probably even an old Sun
Tattoo.
tat right there. Does that better,
Yep.
Jordan? Is that
If you could stop moving so much, it'd make a lot.
Is it
make
make-
it a lot
Well,
easier for
if your arm were just a little bigger like
bigger?
mine.
Could y'all make them a little bigger?
Yeah, we could do that.
Could you
Yeah.
stretch it a little? Okay, and make
Yeah.
me more tan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Use discount code Aaron Watson on DaleBrisby.com.
Exactly.
For buy one, get the second full price.
That's right. That's
Today
right.
only for you only.
Well, dude, it's so impressive, your whole situation here. I mean, and what y'all have built. I mean, as a businessman, I walked in here and I was like, oh, this is so cool. And we said this off air, but the girl that helps me run all my stuff, she, we were talking about, I was like, she was like, well, look at his setup and how he's got it. And I walk in, and whatever that thing that makes, whatever that equipment is,
Yeah, t-shirt press.
t-shirt press, the thing looks like you could saddle up and go to the moon on it.
Yeah, it looks like a UFO.
Yeah, I was like, what is that?
Well,
Well, I'm going to have to sell my pickup to get one of them. Probably sell 10 pickups, actually.
yeah, it'll take a couple at least.
It'll take a couple of t-shirts to.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
reminded me when I saw it of the amusement park in Amarillo, Wonderland.
Oh,
Yeah.
It
dude.
reminded me of the Himalaya, the
Dude.
Yep.
spinning thing.
Dude,
Yeah.
okay.
Amusement parks,
Do y'all,
yeah.
what, so
Amusement ride.
let's talk about that. So, Leroy, you take a little gal to Wonderland Park back in the day. What's the ride you going to take her on? There's one answer.
I like that roller coaster.
I mean, the Ferris wheel, but it's not really
Boys.
that big.
Boys, it's a fantastic journey. Don't y'all remember the fantastic journey?
Where it was like dark in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Oh, fantastic journey.
Yeah, I remember that now. I was actually picturing it in my head. I forgot that's what it was called.
Let me tell y'all. Let me tell you boys how it would go down.
You timed how long it's going to take. It's an 18-minute ride.
Ride.
You're going to lay a kiss on her at 16 minutes.
That's what I would do, theoretically speaking. And I'd get on there, and as you get in there, and then big doors open up, and you're sitting next to her, and you're giving your buddies the thumbs up, and I never could seem to find the right moment,
Yeah.
and it would never happen. But whatever.
Yeah.
But my heart was in the right place, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If I went to Wonderland though, and it was like if I took a girl with me, like I was going to have fun. Like, you can kiss me when I take you home.
You're like-
let's go get on the Himalaya. Let's see who throws up first.
You're like at the end of the night, Leroy's like, "Hey, sorry about like when we went through the entrance when I took off running and you didn't see me for the rest of the night. I'm sorry about
Where
that."
you been? I've hit
Look at all
every
these
ride.
tickets I won.
Yeah.
What's the log one called? The log deal?
Yeah, the water.
Oh yeah, that one was awesome.
Yeah.
Now the Himalayan, was that the one in the far end of the?
Oh yeah.
That one was in the far.
Yeah, I'm not. I ain't about that life.
Remember when it would go backwards?
I ain't
Oh,
about
yeah.
that Himalayan life.
I loved it.
Well,
Not me.
Mr.
I'll tell y'all.
Mr. Chunks over here.
Yeah.
blowing them.
Well, something's happened to me. So I don't know. It's been about 5 years ago. I got to fly with the Blue Angels, and we played the air show down at the Naval Air Station in Kingsville, and I had to go down there a couple of days early. We had to run. They kind of run you through how to do the hick maneuver and all those things, and the pilot. I walk out there to that F-18, and the pilot said, "Now you're real good friends with the skipper, aren't you?" And that's the head honcho of the Naval Air Station. He's the man. I was like, "Yes, sir. He's one of my friends." He said, "Well, he told me to give you the true experience, not to give you the little joyride." And I was like, "Okay." And we were up there for an hour. Pulled like 6-point-something G's. And I was solid for about 45 minutes. And then he kept doing this split S maneuver thing. But he did this one thing where we were upside down, and then he pushed the nose down. Being upside down and pushing the nose down, that's not normal for the human, maybe digestive system. It makes everything go the wrong direction.
Oh, so he knew what he was doing.
Dude, man, most sick I've ever felt in my life. That night we ate at Chili's. I had nothing but sweet tea. That's it. Scout's honor, nothing but sweet tea. And as I was walking out of Chili's, there's that metal post in the middle of those double doors. And I don't know what happened, but I walked straight, like it got me so out of whack. And now there's certain rides, the teacups at Disney World, they will destroy me.
I thought you were going to say it made it easier.
No, the teacup, something messed me up. Like I went on the teacups with my daughter and some of her friends, and you know how you're supposed to get in there and do it as hard as possible? What I was doing is I had my hand underneath the spin wheel, and them little girls are trying to spin that thing, and I'm giving that thing. They're like, well, it just wouldn't spin good. And I was like, we just got a bad teacup.
We got a bad
We got the stuck one.
We got the we got the slow teacup. Y'all go on that again. Daddy's going to
hang back.
go get some of those candied pecans. Dude, I'm telling you, it rocked my world. It's, Man, I have not thought of that.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Man, we were
Neither
from
have
the-
I.
Those are the
Leroy
good old
still
days.
does, though.
Yeah. Talk about the deep track. Yeah. Well, we normally wrap these up with life advice. So, do you have any life advice for us?
Well, last week, my son Jake, he went up to the driving range with some buddies and came back a few hours later, and he's holding his face like this, right? And he was so swollen. And he said his jaw was hurting right here. And I said, what happened? He said, Dad, I was just hitting golf balls, and I had my hat down, and I hit a golf ball, and I looked for the shot where it was going, and at that very time, I just kind of blacked out. And he said, this girl grabbed my golf club, and apparently she swung it like it was a baseball bat and opened up, smoked me right in the face. And I said, son, never trust a woman that's swinging a stick around you, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm just going to leave with that with all the listeners.
Yeah.
We've already talked about the Bible and Jesus.
That's basic, though.
But that's basic.
That's basic. One-on-one life.
I don't know. What part of, when you saw her swinging that golf club around like it was a weapon,
don't take your eyes off
the
of
fact
it.
that you put your head down.
Yeah. That's mistake number one.
Yeah. So it's not biblical, but
It should be.
it should be. You guys have been awesome.
What do you got for advice?
Who you
Y'all got
looking at?
anything?
I can't
You.
see your
You.
ass. Oh,
Leroy?
I mean, just wash your hands and say your prayers. Germs and Jesus are everywhere.
That's a good one.
Donnie?
Don't sweat the petty things and don't pet the sweaty things.
That's probably the best one.
Thank you. I came up with that.
That's. Can you say that again? What is it?
Don't sweat the petty things and don't pet the sweaty things.
Yeah, that is.
Mine would be search for peace, not happiness, and go download Unwanted Man.
I like that. That's right.
Text the word podcast to 940-353-0890. I'm Dale Brisby. We are on to the next one.
Go Bears.